It cracks me up. People are like, well, there's no corn in corned beef. But corn is just actually an old English word for grain. And in this situation, what it's referring to is the large grains of salt that are used to make the brine in the corned beef. So again, we're going to make a salt solution brine by mixing quite a bit of salt and water. We're going to take our brisket. Corned beef is typically made from a brisket. The brisket's going to go into a bucket. You're going to make sure it's properly submerged, completely submerged under the brine. Refrigerate it. You can let it sit in there 10 days, 12 days, up to 2 weeks. And that high salt content is going to inhibit the growth of bacteria and make it safe. So it tenderizes the meat, it adds flavor, and 14 days, that's a pretty long time for a piece of meat to be sitting around. It's also important though, when you're ready, you get it out, rinse off the additional salt, and it still needs to be cooked, right? We'll still cook it the same way that we would for any corned beef meal, making corned beef sandwiches, that sort of thing. It's often boiled. A long, slow cooking time is very, very important to make sure you keep the meat tender. It should take you 2-3 hours to cook a nice corned beef.
Before we move on to the recipe and cook note section, we'd like to take a moment to thank our members for subscribing to Mother Earth News magazine. Mother Earth News is the original Back to the Land publication, and our members have unlimited access to over 50 years and counting of practical advice for sustainable living in rural, agrarian, and urban settings. Members get a magazine every other month with articles vetted and tested by our team of editors, access to our full video library ad-free and on demand, and even discounts at the Mother Earth News store, where you can get books and tools to help you reach your personal goals. Our February and March 2025 issue is full of ideas for spring, like How to Plant a Seed-Saving Garden by Ren Everett on page 22, or How to Protect Pollinator Habitats by Doug Ottinger on page 18. We also brought experts to the table in our Cater to Pollinators video course, which features free resources and recommendations for how to access pollinator-friendly plants and grow your own pollinator garden. Take the next step toward living wisely and subscribe to Mother Earth News magazine today. Mother Earth News and Friends YouTube viewers get $10 off their first year. So go to bit.ly/Friends of Mother. That's bit.ly/friends-of-mother for $10 off your first year. Now, let's go make some corned beef. Now, there will be times in my life where things will get a little busy, and I'll probably purchase store-bought versions of the foods that we made previously in this course. But I need y'all to listen when I tell you, I am never buying corned beef from the store ever again. Bevin's corned beef recipe starts on page 107. The ingredients are 2 quarts of water, 1 cup of sea salt, 1/2 cup white vinegar, 1/2 cup brown sugar, 2 teaspoons peppercorns, 1 teaspoon mustard seeds, 1 teaspoon coriander seeds, 2 bay leaves, 1 cinnamon stick, and 5 to 6 pounds beef brisket. Now, in his book, Bevin recommends buying a brisket flat. I was unable to find just a flat in the store, and we filmed around a summer holiday. I was only able to find a whole brisket that had both the point and the flat cut. So we went ahead and doubled the brine ingredients. But what this meant was we got to test this recipe on both the point and the flat. And again, let me tell you, this was perfect. This was delicious. This was probably the most economically friendly and the tastiest corned beef I've ever had in my life. And the Reuben is my favorite sandwich. I've had a lot of corned beef. So the first step in this recipe is to combine all of your ingredients except for the meat in a large stock pot and bring it to a boil. Once everything is dissolved, which is really the reason why you're boiling this, you'll remove it from the heat and allow the brine to cool. And this is very important. We are not cooking the meat right now, so let it cool, not just till it's done steaming, but until it is colder than your body, until it feels cool to the touch. This is, of course, the rule for any good brine. Now, once your brine is cool, submerge your meat, and you want it all the way totally submerged, nothing floating. And you can add a weight if you have to. Now, we didn't have to add a weight, possibly because we had 2 pieces of beef in there. But my favorite weight suggestion actually comes from Kirsten Shockey, someone who's made quite a few awesome food preservation videos for us before. She likes to recommend putting water in a large Ziploc bag and putting that with the item that you need weighted down. And I've always had great success with that method. And then, of course, your next step is to let your meat cure. Now, in the cookbook, he says to let it cure in a refrigerator for up to 10 days. And that is exactly what we did. We let this cure for a week and 3 days. We started it on a Wednesday and we cooked it on a Friday. Took it out, drained it, rinsed it, cooked the flat in a slow cooker for 4 hours, and cooked the point in a pressure cooker for 1 hour. And of course, they turned out equally well. If you're the type who likes to have a more stew-like corned beef experience with potatoes, carrots, and cabbage, I like to reserve adding vegetables to the end. In a slow cooker, I like to throw them in the last hour. In a pressure cooker, I like to take the corned beef out and then throw in all my vegetables and cook them for another 5 minutes at pressure. We had a corned beef party down at the Mother Earth News offices, and let me tell you, it was a great hit with everyone. If you're a carnivore who also wants more control over where their meat comes from and the ingredients used to cure it, try some of these meat recipes from the Heritage Pantry. There's a recipe for canned meat of your choice, page 24, dried jerky on page 39, smoked jerky on page 117, and smoked salmon on page 123. Did you try this recipe? Tell us about it. Tag us on Facebook or Instagram, or send us an email at letters@motherearthnews.com. That's letters@motherearthnews.com. And until next time, don't forget to love your mother.